My name is Mrs. Claus, and I have to tell y'all something about Rudolph. The reason I have my dark sunglasses on because I can't be seen on camera because I have to tell y'all something that happened a few years ago. Because you know, history has a way of disappearing. But a few years ago, I don't know if y'all know, the world disappeared. Well, they thought it disappeared. Not disappeared, but a time loop happened, and all of a sudden, a whole amount of time just disappeared because of what Santa did to Rudolph. Now, let me start by telling y'all that here at the North Pole, well, North Pole, things are a little different. So let me just tell you what happened. You know, Rudolph would come to Santa and complain about the way the reindeers was treating him. And Santa would say things like, change your hair blonde. I mean, cover your nose. And Rudolph would say, but Santa, you know, and he'd say, how many years are you gonna complain about the way you've been treated, Rudolph? And Rudolph would just, you know, go off about his business. And so, you know, people don't know this. After that storm, that time when Rudolph actually helped the reindeer and Santa get through that storm, after the storm, they started treating Rudolph the same as they did before. They didn't change anything. They just treated Rudolph really bad. You know, and he would go to Santa, and Santa would just basically blow it off. Rudolph, how many years are you gonna complain? So Rudolph went about his day and basically, you know, continued. So, for a few years, he didn't need Rudolph. So Rudolph would come and just say, you know, Santa, am I gonna lead your sleigh tonight? Santa would say, no, Rudolph, we don't need your nose so bright. Why don't you just, you know, straighten your hair a little bit? I mean, cover your nose up so people won't be offended by the fact that you don't look like them. So Rudolph was like, okay, and he was hurting, you know, and he would be upset. Then one day he met an elf named Elfton. Elfton was 6 feet tall. So Elfton was taller than all the other elves. I mean, Elfton, and not only was Elfton tall, he was strong. And the elves treated Elfton so bad, they wouldn't let him play in the elf games. So he became friends with Rudolph. And so that was a good thing, right? Him and Rudolph made a bond. So over the years, Santa didn't need Rudolph, but every now and then he needed Elfton. Anytime things were heavy, he'd tell Elfton, come pick the stuff up for me, or come lift this, Elfton. But when Elfton would come to him and complain about the elves treating him wrong, he said, Elfton, there you go complaining. You lucky we let you be here at the North Pole. You're taller than all the other elves, and you look a little different. So you lucky we even letting you be here. So Elfton said, okay. So one day, Elfton and Rudolph got together and talked about how they felt about Santa and the other reindeers. So what happened? Elfton was in charge of putting the sleigh together. Each year, people don't know, they do a maintenance on Santa's sleigh. And they do the little button. And it's, Elfton in charge of that. So, Rudolph and Elfton looked at the weather. And they saw there was going to be another storm. Rudolph and Elfton talked. Elfton said, you know, Rudolph, he gonna ask you to lead his sleigh tonight. And Rudolph said, I don't want to lead his sleigh. Why would I want to lead Santa Claus' sleigh? He ain't cared about me for the last 100 years. I mean, the last 5 years. So why would I care? Why am I gonna do this? And I know y'all wonder why, as Mrs. Claus, why I'm telling you this story. I decided to divorce Mr. Claus, and I need to have this stuff and evidence for my lawyer. And so I have found the tape showing the time loop that Santa did, okay, you know, the history changed. So Elton and Rudolph talked. And Elton said to Rudolph, I got a plan. And Rudolph said, what's the plan, Elton? He said, I'm going to show you what the plan is. It's a good plan. So, as usual, Santa came walking up to Rudolph. Rudolph, with your nose so bright, will you lead my sleigh tonight? Rudolph looked over at Elton, gave him a wink. Yes, Santa, I'll lead your sleigh tonight. And they got and that night they got together, and Elton said, Rudolph, you know the plan. When they get up so high, blink your nose twice. So they get up high as the sky. Rudolph blinked his nose twice, and Elton pressed the button. It released all the reins of the reindeer. Everything tumbled out. Down went Blitzen, down went Prancer, and all the other reindeers, and down went Santa and his sleigh. All the toys broke on the ground. The good kids didn't get their toys, the bad kids didn't even get a lump of coal. Santa didn't want this out, so he tried his best to hide it. So he put a magic dust over the world and made it appear that Christmas that year disappeared and came back the next year as though it had never happened. But Rudolph got his revenge. Yeah, Rudolph got his revenge. And I tell you, Santa ain't never been the same since. Santa ain't been the same since. Yeah. This is Mrs. Claus signing off and hoping ain't nobody seeing this video before I get a chance to upload it, because my lawyer told me to protect myself from letting people know about Rudolph's revenge.